Welcome back to the Badass Broadcast, where we keep it real, regulated, and soul-led. I am your host, favorite fire starter and nervous system regulator, the Queen Lady T. And today's episode is the closing chapter of the Healer's Journey series. Thought for today? If you feel lonely in your own presence, another person will only distract you from that, not solve it. A relationship can bring companionship. A partner can bring connection. But no one can replace the relationship you have with yourself. And today we're going to talk about exactly why so many people try. Because the healer's journey eventually leads to one place: coming home to yourself. Let's get into it.
It's the Badass Broadcast.
There's a kind of loneliness that has nothing to do with being alone. People feel it in relationships, in friendships, in full houses, because the real issue isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of connection with self. When someone feels uncomfortable in their own presence, silence feels heavy. So they fill it with relationships, with scrolling, with distractions. And sometimes they believe the ache they feel is a craving for another person. But that's not always true. Sometimes what we're feeling isn't a craving for another person. It's a craving for expression, for creativity, for purpose, for using the gifts that live inside of us. That same emptiness people try to fill with relationships can also be filled with creating something, writing, making art, building something meaningful. We are born creators. Creation connects you to yourself. And when you're connected to yourself, that emptiness starts to dissolve. So why exactly do we outsource our inner world? Well, a lot of people were never taught how to be with themselves. From childhood, we're conditioned to look outward for answers, look outward for approval, look outward for validation, look outward for authority. Even spiritually, many people are taught, go to the Bible for answers. Pray and wait for God to respond. Look outside yourself for guidance. Everything points outward. And at the same time, people are often warned about looking inward. Meditation is called dangerous. Yoga is called evil. Breath work is criticized. But if you look closely, what do all these practices actually have in common? They bring you back to yourself. They turn your awareness inward. And for many people, that was framed as something suspicious or even wrong. But the truth is this: the connection you have with yourself is the most important relationship you will ever experience. Because you are the one present for every moment of your life. Every relationship, every loss, every joy, every decision, you are there. You are the only guarantee in your life. And when someone never learns how to connect with themselves, loneliness follows them everywhere. And not even because they're actually alone, but because they're disconnected from their own presence. Now let's shift to solitude versus loneliness for a moment. Solitude and loneliness look similar on the surface, but they feel very different inside. Loneliness is restless. It feels like something is missing. It feels like you don't belong anywhere. Solitude feels peaceful. It feels grounding. It feels like space to breathe. The difference is your relationship with yourself. When someone is connected to themselves, time alone becomes nourishing. It becomes a place where ideas show up, where creativity flows, where clarity arrives. But when someone is disconnected from themselves, silence becomes uncomfortable, and the mind starts searching for something or someone to fill that space. And that's when people start chasing relationships, not out of love, but out of relief. And that's a lot of pressure to put on another human being, because no one can replace the connection you're meant to have with yourself. The healer's journey isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming someone you can sit with. someone whose thoughts you respect, someone whose emotions you understand, someone whose presence you enjoy. Because here's something I know a lot of people hate to hear, but if you can't sit with yourself, how do you expect someone else to? If your presence feels uncomfortable to you, why would another person magically experience it differently? If you don't slow down enough to listen to your own thoughts, why do you expect someone else to understand them? If you never take the time to understand your emotions, why would you expect another person to navigate them for you? And this is where a lot of relationships get tangled. People want someone to know them deeply, to understand them, to make them happy, to bring them peace. But they haven't even taken the time to know themselves yet. They don't know what lights them up. They don't know what drains them. They don't know what truly makes them feel alive. But then they hand that responsibility to someone else. But no one can study a map you've never looked at yourself. No one can understand a language you've never taken the time to learn. Your inner world is something you have to explore first. It doesn't have to be perfect and it doesn't have to be fully complete, but it does have to be intentional. Because when you start to know yourself, when you start to respect your thoughts, when you start to understand your emotions, when you start to create a life that actually feels good to you, something shifts. You stop looking for someone to complete you. You start inviting people into a life that already has meaning. And relationships become healthier because of that. Because you're not asking someone else to fill a void. And not only that, but you've learned how to be at home in your own presence first. Now, before we close today, let's take a moment to practice something simple. Just sitting with yourself. If you can, pause whatever you're doing for a second. Take a slow breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Let your shoulders soften. Take another breath in through the nose. Exhale through your mouth. Now, just notice your own presence. Not judging, not analyzing, just noticing your breath, your body, your thoughts moving through. And ask yourself one gentle question. What part of me have I been avoiding spending time with? You don't have to solve it, just notice. Now take one more slow breath in and let it go. Sometimes the first step in healing loneliness is simply remembering how to sit with yourself. The healer's journey eventually leads back to the same place. You. Not the version of you shaped by expectations, the real you. The one who can sit in silence and feel at home. Because when you enjoy your own presence, you're never truly alone. And from that place, every relationship becomes a choice, not a rescue mission. Now, if this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might be walking their own healer's journey. And if you've been listening to this series, thank you for being here for the ride. Tune in next week for the start of a brand new series. Until then, remember, you are an unstoppable badass, worthy of everything your heart desires. Let's get it.
The spark ignites a revolution born in the firelight. No more hiding, no no playing small. It's time to rise, we're claiming it all.
If this episode spoke to your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Like it, share it, send it to someone who needs a dose of badassery in their life. Want to be a guest on the show? Got a powerful story, message, or mission? Apply now at unstoppablebadass.me. Need a high vibe home for your healing and growth? Join my free Facebook community, The Elevated Soul Tribe. It's where soul-led women come to rise, connect, and stay real. If you're a seer, light worker, or spiritual badass who's done shrinking, step inside the fire and rise with us in Sacred Wildfire, my virtual queen circle. Feeling stuck or ready to break through? Book your free badass breakthrough session and let's uncover what's been holding you back. Clarity, power, momentum, all waiting on the other side. Ready to activate your healing gifts? Enroll in my Kundalini Reiki activation and attunement course. Step into or deepen your healer's journey with sacred energy work that transforms you from the inside out. Want to show some love? Donate or shop at buymeacoffee.com/The Queen Lady Tea, because your support helps me keep lighting fires and dropping truth. You can find all these links in the show notes, the description, or at unstoppablebadass.me. Thank you so much for rocking with me, and I'll catch you in the next episode of the Badass Broadcast.
It's the Badass Broadcast. Claim your crown. No limits, no boundaries, no backing down. For the dreamers, the fighters, the ones who dare to rise from the ashes to take their share. This is your anthem, your power unleashed, a movement of love, a force of peace. It's the Badass Broadcast. It's your time, step into the spotlight, let yourself shine.